So hi, I kind of messed up the recording and I messed it up twice, not once, but twice, and I can't really go back to doing all the changes again. But what I can do is take you guys through all the changes that I made. So first change that you can see is we have added a new icon. So I go to flat icon and took some icons that I really wanted, pasted them into my folder, and then referred them here, right? So for all the links that you can see, I have pasted them here. And next thing is I wrapped the image and the link into divs because then I wanted them to be one single unit. And next thing that I did was made sure that they were in flex, and uh, basically they were more responsive to screen size changes. So let's say change the screen size, right? So they should maintain the layout as it is without breaking, right? Next thing that I did was change the font. So I went back to Google Fonts and took a font called Google Sans Code, because the font should give a vibe that it is more developer friendly. This is a page for developers. I added this image into the hero section and changed the font color. So if I go here, you will see that for my hero section, the font color, I have changed it to a gradient. And in order to create this gradient, you can go to a website called Colorify, and in Colorify you can kind of set your different color tones, and then always go to code and you can take the CSS code here and just apply it to your font, right? And the image, so if I go here, there is a hero image, right? I changed the size of the hero image because it was too big, and I changed the layout with grid. So if you look at the website, so now it's a grid of 2 by 2. This image takes the grid from the for both the rows, and this side of the column is divided into two rows, one for the hero statement and one for the sub statement, right? And this animation is actually a keyframe animation. So if I go here, I have added this keyframe animation that at 0% the translate y is 0px, and at 50% of the time translate y is 20px. So if I change it to something like point, let's say 1 second, so the animation should be faster. Yeah, so the animation is faster now, right? Just to give a helpful vibe in the website. This section I added again gradients, but this time I added the gradients on my own. So if you go here, there is background image linear gradient, and I gave an angle to the linear gradient which is 45 degrees, so it looks kind of like diagonal and fades out into white. So the first color red, then a lighter red, and then white. That's what I've defined: red, light red, and white, right? This is blue, lighter blue, and white. Then there's a green, mint, and then white, right? So that's the idea. Next thing is for the testimonial section, I added image and meta info. So basically the review section I kind of updated. The reason of updating it was I wanted to make sure that the meta info, which is the author of the review and their designation and their image, all is one unit, and the content of their review is the other unit. And the reason for this is that it became easier for me to style using grid. So if I go back to my reviews section, so I have created columns 2, 1, FR, which is for all the 3 cards. So this is 2, 1, FR, right? And for my testimonial 1, if you look at this particular testimonial, it is saying that it's a repeat 3, 1, FR. So these are 3 columns, of which the content occupies 2 columns and this section occupies 1 column, right? And this one is top to down. I didn't have to make any changes to it, right? So yeah, those are the changes from a look perspective. The other change which took me the most time really is that if I change the size, a lot of things were breaking. As you can see, they are still breaking. because I haven't defined the size of it quite right. But if you go here, right, now the layout has changed quite a lot, and that's because I've added media queries now, which say that if yeah if the max width is 768px and anything is above that, it follows the regular rules. But if it is below 768, you need to follow very block style, drop the flex box, follow only block style responsiveness. So what happens is, if I shorten this now, all these are block, right? So all of them appear as single blocks. There is no layouting, no flex box at all, right? Um, and you will see something here that a lot of my media queries are below instead of at the top. I think there is only one at the top, which is for the navigation bar. So navigation bar should follow, this is the only one that follows flex. This is the only section that follows flex in a smaller container. That's because I wanted them to be more responsive based on the size. They should not disappear or overflow, and I couldn't figure out a way to do that in block style. But everything else follows a block style, right? And what you will see is that these things, right, they are at the bottom. That's because if I these media queries are at the bottom, and the reason is, if I define something like, let's say, let me show you an example. So for instance, if I go to testimonial, right? Oh, actually, let's show it with footer without breaking anything, right? Let's say media, media, screen and max width, font. I want the footer to have a color blue, right? Now if I save it and I go and reload my page, obviously it's black, right? But if I shorten the size, still not blue. Let's not save it. I saved it. Is it font color? No, it's color only. Footer. Oh, footer doesn't apply. Let's say dot footer, right? Now if I reload it, yeah, it's still not applying the color blue. Oh, I didn't define it. Max width 768px, right? Yeah. Now if I reload it, yeah, this is blue, right? I'll make this big. Now it is still black. Now it's still black, but if I shorten it, it's blue, right? Now what if I say dot footer color is red, right? I'll save it. The logic says that it should turn blue. It is red now. It should turn blue if I shorten the size, right? But you'll see it is still red, and that's because what we talked about are the cascading style of writing, right? The CSS reads from top to down. So it will read this, it will apply it, it will read the mobile view color, but then again it will read this, so it will make the global style as red. So technically, if I put it above the media query, so the default color is red, and only for mobile screen sizes it turns blue. So that was a problem that I didn't realize, and I had to make sure that media queries are always below all the global style selectors or all the global style factors that you are including into your regular elements in a default style. So for instance, if my default style is red, the media query should be always below that default style. Otherwise the default gets overridden, right? Sorry, otherwise the default overrides the media query. So yeah, you have to be very careful in that, and that was my learning. Another thing was, I spent a lot of time to write media queries, and I'm sure there must be a more structured process to it. I think I as a person learning will have to figure out whenever I'm making or writing HTML and CSS, I just need to find my list of checklist items that I need to tick off while making a website responsive, so that 90% of the work is done while writing the CSS and 10% is just fixing the minimal breakages. What is happening actually right now is I write CSS code, test the website for responsiveness. 90% of things break and I'm just figuring out tweaks for each of them, and 10% is actually structured stuff that I was actually mindful of when I was writing the original set of CSS. So for instance, if I have to give an example, I had the feeling that I should be using flex for the navigation bar. So when I shortened the screen size, it was not a problem for me to know, okay, like, okay, fine, I already have units, so if I just turn them into block or apply flex direction, they will fix themselves. But something like testimonial cards, there was a lot more tweaking of the grid, adding more grids to make sure the layout functions the way I intend, and still then not getting a very satisfactory result, but good enough as it is. So yeah, that was my video. I'm sorry that this part 2 is a lot more it's a lot less code with me and more code explanation. um, I hope that recording will you know work better from now on, and I don't have to go through the hassle of making 1 hour long videos more than once or twice. Anyway, see you guys in the next video. In the next video, I'm just going to try to create one UI component, a single UI component. I'm still trying to figure out what it will be. We'll try to design it with CSS so that we know, like, if we have to make very standard UI components, how to do those, and then we'll move on to JavaScript. So see you. Bye bye.